All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Explorations of Brilliances Series. I'm your host, Dr. Scott Lee, with a PhD in finance. Today, we have with us a remarkable individual who has dedicated his life to transforming family experiences through behavioral health solutions. Born in Taiwan and raised in the Bay Area, California, Kirk Chang is the founder of CABC, a cutting-edge organization that focuses on creating harmonious family environments and solving unresolved behavioral challenges in children. As a loving father of two and a devoted husband, Kirk embodies a balanced life both professionally and personally. So without further ado, Kirk, welcome to the show. It's an honor for us to have you here.
Thank you, Scott. It's an honor for me to be here and knowing the collection of guests that you have interviewed and you will interview. It's truly my privilege to be here.
Well, Kirk, can you share a little bit about your background? You were born in Taiwan, but grew up in the Bay Area. How has this unique blend of cultures shaped your perspective?
Yes, great question. We all know that we're not a single experience, right? We're a collection of our experiences. So growing up in the Bay Area with a Taiwanese heritage was like having a fused genetic makeup of cultural experiences. And it taught me to appreciate the diversity and be adaptable to the most delightful way. I've come to understand and the importance of being culturally sensitive and providing personalized care, because I recognize that each person and family carries their own unique cultural stories into their journey.
That's wonderful. So I want to talk a little bit about your career, right? And how you got into this field that you're in now, because you have a very successful practice with 20 plus professionals. As far as I know, what you shared with me, you plan to open another location. It's very good to hear that because you are serving the greater goods. What inspired you to delve into the field of behavioral health?
Great question, Scott. About 20 years ago, I was a senior in UC Berkeley studying psychology with an emphasis on child development. And I was fascinated by how autism impacted not only the development of the child, but also the family dynamic. And so in my journey to learn more about autism, I volunteered at an early intervention program in Children's Hospital, Oakland. I didn't know at the time, but that's where I met my first client. And that's when I started my mission to serve the autism community since 2002. Prior to founding Chang and Associates Behavior Consulting, CABC, that you referred, yes. In 2013, I worked with children, adolescents, and young adults in home, school, and various community settings to improve their access to learning and enhance their quality of life. For the past decade, my team and I focus on delivering applied behavior analytic intervention services to thousands of children that we serve, and we share countless magical moments with our families.
You're known for your calm demeanor, right? By the way, for the audience, the listeners, Kirk and I met through Tony Robbins' Platinum Partner Mastermind Group. And Kirk is known for his centered, balanced demeanor. So I'm curious, how do you maintain this serenity while dealing with emotionally charged scenarios, both in your practice and as a parent?
Thank you, Scott. You're too kind. You should see me behind the screen. Thank you for noticing. And it's a lot of effort, like you say yourself, right? There's a way to it. It takes dedication and practice to maintain that. So I appreciate you notice that I tend to keep a calm demeanor, but yes. If you catch me in the right moment, I'm not always this way. And I attribute that to that I make a conscious effort to practice mindfulness and self-reflection. As you know, my clients, sometimes in interactions with them, their behavior can be unpredictable. And through my work in this field, I realized the importance of being mindful. Otherwise, I'm practicing just with a tunnel vision, and that's totally not safe. And so it's either I will get hurt or my client will get hurt.
Mm. Well, we are what we practice on a daily basis, right? About your journey, could you walk us through the journey of establishing CABC, and what was the driving force behind creating this organization?
Yes, it started with, I remember my very first real job, and I was working at a behavioral health organization, and I feel that I could be more supported by the organization as far as training, as far as the supervisor and all this. So I remember vividly, I had a thought as I was going to a client. My thought was, if and when I have the opportunity, I wanted to create an organization that not only focus on the quality of service to its clients, but also the quality of care to its own employees. So CABC was born out of that heartfelt vision to create a warm and welcoming haven of support for children with autism and their families. And so what drove us was the desire to fill the gap in services by providing comprehensive evidence-based intervention that are as unique as the incredible individuals that we have privileged to serve.
Your organization emphasizes that the first 7 years are very crucial in a child's development. Could you elaborate on why these years are so formative?
Yeah, this is a great question. I know there are a lot of government initiatives talking about the importance of the first 3 years, first 5 years, so on and so forth. And the formative years of childhood, especially the first 7, while profoundly influence over an individual's future. And Aristotle's ancient wisdom, right, find resonance in modern research, affirming that the rapid development of the brain during this period, and which lays the foundation for social skills, emotional well-being, and cognitive abilities. And Harvard University's data underscore the staggering pace of a child's brain development before the age of 3, forming approximately 1 million neural connections every minute. Imagine that. Okay. And these connections weave a complex mapping system shaped by both the genetics and environment, particularly through the critical serve and return exchange between the child and the parents or the caregivers. So even seemingly small gestures like responding to a baby's cry or engaging in a play hold immense significance, and they serve as the bedrock for acquiring social norms, honing communication skills, and fostering an understanding of relationship. Moreover, these early years, they play a pivotal role in shaping attachment styles and offering insight into how children will forge future relationships. Secure attachments nurtured through consistent and caring, good enough parenting allows children to perceive relationships as dependable and trustworthy sources of comfort and guidance. Wow. At CABC, we seemingly integrate these scientific insights into our practice, placing a strong emphasis on early and personalized interventions. And through a cultivation of secure attachments and the enrichment of serve and return interactions, our goal is to not only address a child's immediate developmental needs, but also to foster their enduring emotion and social well-being.
That's really, really deep and profound. Now I want to talk about the communication and the teamwork, right? Because you have 20 plus professionals working for you. As a business owner, you are also managing your business on a day-to-day basis. Communication is listed as one of the key offerings at CABC. How does your team go about ensuring clear and open communication with families?
So One of our organizational core values is being collaborative. And I believe this is deeply rooted in my upbringing. As you know, most Asian cultures, they emphasize this interdependence. For us, it makes sense that we are communicating with our clients with open and honesty and transparency, and letting the parents know that where the barriers might be in the treatment program, or when we see a behavior pattern that just not workable as far as helping the child make progress, then we're also in that privileged position to share that information with the parents.
With 20 plus professionals working under you, what are some leadership strategies used to keep your team motivated and focused?
Here at CABC, we're creating this working environment that's all about openness and collaboration. And we're excited to have families as essential members of our treatment team. And we are transparent about our methods and our goals. And to keep our team motivated, I make sure that they know just how much their work matters, and encourage continuous learning and let them feel the worth of their efforts, their contributions. And as Tony put it, management is about the leadership. Leadership is about the management of expectations. So that open and honest communication also comes into play.
I remember you shared with me earlier that you have a quarterly meeting, right? Team building meeting. Would you mind sharing with the audience what you do at these quarterly meetings, and how do you use these meetings to motivate and improve the quality of the team and the communication?
Yes, we adopted this method, and I believe you're referring to our quarterly conversation.
Yes.
And so we adopted this method from EOS, which at each quarterly meeting, the direct supervisor will meet with the direct report. We did some individualization and tailor it to our needs. So it's not a traditional EOS quarterly conversation. In this meeting, the direct supervisor will share with the direct report what works, what doesn't work, and list out 3 things that the direct report can do to either maintain their performance or things that they want to do to improve it. At the same time, it's also the opportunity for the direct report to provide feedback to the supervisor on what was working, what wasn't working. And so that creates a open and honest and candid conversation that I don't believe a lot of organizational environments have.
Okay. Well, Kirk, I remember you shared with me some of the moments that you had to really dive in and be the hero saving the day, right? Would you mind sharing with us 1 or 2 scenarios and of those moments and how you resolved it as a leader?
You're flattering me. It's really a team effort. There have been times when we encounter some team members, especially those who are being with the organization from early on. And CABC today is not the CABC 5 years ago, not even 3 years ago. Especially during COVID, we pivot and then we grew a lot. So people who joined the team early on, sometimes they are so used to the way that we did business, right? While the organization has evolved, sometimes the individual still is stuck in that behavior pattern. Ironically, even though we serve our client to help them make behavior change, sometimes we do have challenges helping our own team members making those necessarily behavior change. The lesson I learned there is sometimes to address the situation with a different approach helped. And with the behavioral approach, things I learned from the textbook is that people will call it, oh, you're being manipulative. Sometimes it's all it takes is to have a heart-to-heart conversation with that person and say, what's going on? And also to have faith in that person's intention, that the person wants to do well by the clients, wants to do well by the organization, and most importantly, wants to do well by themselves. I know it's like, well, that's not rocket science. It really is not. And sometimes the simplest things usually is the most effective thing to do.
I love it. It feels heart-centered, and you focus on serving your employees, or let's say serving your team members, because we are all human beings, right? Whether it's a business or we're doing this for friends or family, we are in a position, we are actually helping one another to improve our life experiences. So I love that you treat your employees as human beings, and then we all learned that there are 6 human needs. I think the first person who mentioned the 6 human needs was Dr. John Schindler. He published the book, How to Live 365 Days a Year in the 50s. And then Tony Robbins later had this new 6 human needs, and he created this growth and contribution, new one compared to what Dr. Schindler created. I totally understand that as an individual, doesn't matter which field we're working in, we need to find ways to fulfill these needs. And sometimes we are in a tunnel vision and we're not doing the best we are capable of. Is probably because we have some imbalanced 6 human needs. I just want to share my personal perspective, and I totally admire the way you treat your employees and how you resolve these situations.
Thank you. To me, there are 2 categories of clients, right? There are clients that we serve externally, and then there are clients that we serve internally. So our team members are the clients that I get to serve internally.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you, Kirk. So for the audience, the audience who are listening or watching, we call Kirk actually Captain Kirk. He is a captain. He is a captain of his ship, and he's leading his team to serve the greater goods. Okay, Kirk, I want to talk about the treatment your organization had. What does a fully customized treatment plan look like at CABC? Could you share an example of how you tailor these plans to suit individual needs?
Right. Without getting into too much technical details, typically the process of from we intake a client to we start our service usually is the assessment process. When we onboard a client, we start our assessment process. That's where we get to understand and appreciate the client's world from their perspective. In addition to using those testing protocols and conducting behavioral observations, we also take the time to talk to the parents. The way that I see it, that's our first opportunity to build rapport. And I'm a firm believer of rapport building. And our treatment program does not have to be 100% on point all the time, but we always need to find opportunities to build rapport every single time we interact with our clients, meaning the child that we serve and also the parents that we interact with. So while the treatment plan is a blueprint for the clinical team, the parents, they just care about someone to come in and treat their child as they would treat their own child. Right? I think that's the bottom line. So going back to the assessment process, after we collect all the information, our board certified behavior analysts will take that information and compare the information against what a neurotypical child would do, and also incorporating the parents' expectation with the hopes and dreams of that child. And so we know where the child is right now, currently functioning wise, and the parent want the child to be, let's just say, in a 3-year time. And now we have a map. Usually the treatment plan is a map to help the clinical team and the family to go from their starting point to their destination. The treatment plan typically is comprised of 3 sections. One is the skill acquisition sessions, where we list out all the targets that board certified behavior analysts created based on the result of the assessment. And the skill acquisition could include functional communication, could include social skills, self-care, skill domains as such. And the second section of the treatment plan is what we call the behavior plan. So usually the child that we serve, the children that we serve, because of the condition, they typically come with what we call the behavior assets, which means the behavior that, even though serve a purpose from the child's perspective, such as aggression, extreme tantrum, that in the long term is not conducive to the child's development in a bigger environment, right? So our goal in this section is to identify the reasons to why the child behaves such way and identify the replacement behavior that serves the same meaning or the same purpose or function to the child. And that way we're able to help the behavior change to occur in the child. Lastly is the parent training. Ultimately, we want to train the parent or want to help the parent become that superhero or enhance their superhero powers, right? Even though this is a small part of the treatment program, this is also one of the most important part of the treatment program, that our clinician work with our family, work with our parents closely to develop those skills so that they can help their child continue to make progress and practice those skills outside of the therapy sessions.
Kirk, do you have any compelling success stories that you could share where your approaches have transformed a family's life?
Yeah, there's many. This one story, though, I would say was one of the most heartfelt to me, and also further reinforced my confidence and faith in pursuing this field of practice. I remember I was working at a non-public school in Oakland, and it's a placement where the school district, where the student cannot be served in their home school district, meaning their challenging behaviors exceeds it could be the resources that the school district could provide or the skill set that the teacher could serve. So imagine these students they're highly volatile behaviorally, and they can go from 0 to 100 in a heartbeat as far as engaging in aggression and other challenging behavior. So I work in that school setting, and that was my first job after I finished my master's. I got my degree. There was a student. He was at the time 15 years of age. And as a child on the spectrum, this particular limitation is shared by many children on the spectrum, which is a selective eater. He was a selective eater, meaning he only will eat 3 things. He will eat cheese pizza from Domino's. He will eat goldfish crackers.
Okay.
And a box juice, like an apple juice of some kind. And that's what he will eat. And mom at home will give him some soup, some supplements, and just to make sure that he has enough nutrients and things. So in the IEP meeting, mom shared the concern of this limited diet that his child has, and it's being as long as he has lived. And mom just brought this up and wanting to know if the team can help him. And after the meeting, I approached the mom and say, I know how to help your child, but this is not part of the curriculum. It's in a school setting. what we're about to do, this is more towards the medical service. If you want to give this a shot, I can totally help you. And so she agreed. And I remember my first session with a child. He's about as tall as I am. I'm like 5'10". He's probably like 5'7", and a fast guy too. And so I remember my first feeding session with him. We have on the plate some broccoli, some carrots, and maybe some cucumber, and a lot of ranch dressing, because apparently he likes ranching. He likes to dip his pizza in the ranch dressing. After the session, it was a successful one. But I remember I was covering ranch because he will flip the plate in my face and all of that. But
wow,
so he ate, right? And fast forward 6 months later, it was Christmas, like this time of the year, holiday season. Mom came back with a t-shirt, and she wanted to give that t-shirt to me. I asked her, what's going on? She said, oh, I just want to thank you that. So I came to find out that this family, as a family tradition, every holiday season, they will take a cruise vacation. Every year for the past 10 years, the mom will pack the food, because the child will not eat just any pizza. It has to be a pizza from Domino's. So mom was up to bring the cardboard box from Domino's onto the cruise ship, and enough of them so that she can rotate them out. So for 10 years in a row, mom always packed the food, bring onto the cruise ship so that the child can be there with them. And that year was the first year the child could eat and was willing to eat the food on the cruise ship with the family.
Awesome, Kirk. That was amazing what you did. I don't think I can change that child's life by asking him to eat something differently. So you're definitely a superhero.
Thank you.
We met through Tony Robbins' Platinum Partner Program, as I mentioned at the beginning of this interview. You have been in this program for multiple years. So how has this experience influenced your professional and personal life?
Oh my goodness, I can't even start to describe the transformations rather that I have experienced. Not just me, my parents, my sister, people that I'm close with. I remember my first event, Business Mastery, and it was unlike many people that I spoke to in a Tony community. Usually their first event is UPW.
Yeah.
And so my first event was Business Mastery, and it was, with no exaggeration or hyperbole, the most transformative event of my life. Not only the tools that I learned, the strategies that I learned from these events, but most importantly is the psychology. And Tony talked about the 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. It's totally the case. And it's a transformation of the identity from my perspective. And I wouldn't be where I am today professionally if I didn't get to be a part of this. And personally, my wife and I, we just went to a plot trip in Maui last month, and it's about relationship. And so it's our second time there. And personally, I would say that it helped me realize the importance of spending or creating time and space to nurture the relationship that I have with my wife. And I spoke with you, Scott, in private about how you do it, which gave me a lot of good ideas on what I can do. So that's what kept me going back each year.
Yes. Well, I want to make sure the audience knows that this is not a advertisement or promotion for Tony Robbins Platinum Partner Program. But if you are interested in just learning from the best of the best and have an open mind and improve all areas of your life, Tony's platform is one of the best out there. Okay. So Kirk, what is some of the most significant challenges in your field today? And how is your organization addressing them?
So right now, especially after COVID, the job market has shifted. And we've gotten people, meaning we've start to come across candidates who do not have that that level of experience or training, and they're expecting a tremendous amount of reimbursement and a wage for their time, reimbursement for their time. While I understand that living in the Bay Area, it's difficult to make a living, essentially, and especially on the wage that we offer, even though I believe our wage is competitive. I think the expectation of the wage, and my operations manager and I, we had this discussion oftentimes, and we're like the older generations now. We're talking about the younger people coming through the door. They're asking a tremendous amount of money. We're wondering what's the value, what's the contribution that they are able to bring to the organization, right? And we mentioned earlier this sort of trading. While I realize that at the end of the day, this is an organization that has its mission and it needs fuel to sustain. So it's just really difficult right now at this point. And so what we were doing to address this is twofold. One is we're looking at currently our recruiting mechanism to make pivots so that we're able to attract and find and hire people who truly share our passion and our core values to serve the community. And secondly, we are building a virtual community and offering an online course to serve our parents. And that is going to be a new revenue stream, if you will, to help continue our mission.
Okay. As you mentioned, you're creating this course for parents who have children on the spectrums. Would you mind just give us a sneak peek or tell us a little bit about your course, what you're building?
Yes, of course. Typically, I work with successful parents who are emotionally and physically exhausted from raising an autistic child.
Yes.
I empower our parents to transform their family experience following a proven system to rediscover the art of self-care, communicate better, and have a supportive community, and connect more meaningfully with their child. What that means is they feel more prepared and more supported while enjoying the gift of being a parent.
So what's next for CABC? Are there any new services or research areas that you're exploring besides the online community that you mentioned and the course you're creating?
Right now, it's been 2+ years in the work now. We are documenting our internal processes with the intention that we're going to have a second location. Most likely it's going to be in the great Sacramento area. And that's where our hub is going to be. So right now we're internally trying to identify which clinician is, one, interested, and second, capable of running a location. Alternatively, we will be looking at a BCBA or a board certified behavior analyst to bring on board and help manage the location.
Wonderful. Kirk, what are your hobbies? We talked a lot about your businesses and how you're changing other people's lives and helping families with children on the spectrum. What do you do in your spare time to have fun?
Yeah, so I love to cook.
Okay.
And before I found this field, I was an aspiring chef. Now I get to fulfill that need every morning. I'm truly grateful that I get to make breakfast for my kids and make lunch for them to bring to school. Wow. And I do that every morning. And so I love to cook. I love to entertain. To me, it's like people always ask me, where is your favorite travel or vacation destination? To me, the location is secondary. It's the people with whom I spend time that's more important to me. That's where sometimes, on the weekend, if I'm not working, I'll invite my friends over, or I'll go to my friends and just spend the afternoon and just sometimes just talk about life, sometimes talk about our aspirations, our dreams. That's pretty much what I have.
Wonderful. Kirk, as our interview coming to the end, do you have any final words of wisdom for our audience, particularly for parents who are navigating the complex world of child behavior and development?
Yes, I'm sure parents, you have heard this. I have heard this before I was a parent. Being a parent is a full-time job. Truly, it is a full-time job and more. So for parents who are navigating the complexity of child behavior and development, it is important to recognize that seeking support, seeking help, it is a testament of your strength. So don't be shy. Reach out your friends or professionals to come in and help guide you. You're a superhero. As with all superheroes, there's always a guy there by the superhero's side. Just also to know that your journey is unique, and with the right assistance, you can create a nurturing environment for your child to flourish.
Awesome. Kirk, thank you so much for spending time with us and sharing your wisdom, life journey, and your superhero practice in your business. Until next time, everyone, follow your passion and live strong. And follow Kirk on Facebook, his practice at www.facebook.com/CABX Consulting. Or go to his website at www.cabxconsulting.com. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Scott.